President Snow! President Snow! President Snow! Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's original limited series, Island. So Island has 7 episodes. They're about 40 minutes to about 45 minutes long each. It's about 10 people who arrive on an island. They don't know how they got there. They wake up with no memory. And it's up to them to find out exactly what to do. How to get help, how to get off the island, how to survive. It's the classical story, that we've seen many times before. It's like Hunger Games meets Lord of the Flies, only with adults, I guess, and it's terrible.
I don't know, I just want to figure this thing out.
If you've been watching my channel for a while, I used to do reviews where I put them into like subcategories. For great films, it was great and awesome. For middle of the road, it was meh. And for really bad films, it was badong. And for this review, I'm bringing back badong.
How to get burned? How to get burned? How to get burned? Let the girl go!
Bad wrong, or badong.
It's going to be pretty tricky for me to try and do a review without doing spoilers in it. For me to talk about what I need to talk about to explain why this is so bad, I kind of had to dip in and out of kind of plot points and character developments. But I'm first going to try and explain to you what exactly this is for the first kind of minute and a half before I get into spoiler territories, and then I'll let you know when I'm going to start doing spoilers. If you remember the first season of Lost, the mystery and the intrigue of how these survivors got this island and how they're going to survive and what they need to do, you had characters there that immediately got together and started building stuff and who was best suited for what job. In this series, you don't get that. It's probably the worst scripting I've seen in a TV series in a long time. It's really bad. For example, they go swimming in the ocean because rather than try and fend for themselves and work out what they need to do, why they're there, why they have no memory, they decide to go and, have a swim. And someone gets attacked by a shark. Minutes later, one of the dialogue lines is, "Where did that shark come from anyway?" And that's literally a line. So the people are so dumb, or written so dumb in this series, that they don't even know that sharks come from the ocean. It's just a really bizarre way of scripting. It felt like it was almost ad-libbed, but I know it isn't ad-libbed. It was strictly directed. And if I did this right now,
Okay, let's run.
you might get an image of Nicolas Cage. And the reason why I'm bringing that up, if you've ever seen the remake of The Wicker Man, you'll know, if you've watched Chris Stuckman's review on The Wicker Man, the remake, how terrible that film is. If you've seen it for yourself, if you put yourself through that mess, you'll understand how terrible that film is.
Sorry.
And the reason why I'm bringing that up is the writer of this series directed the Wicker Man remake, and he directed one of the episodes of this series, one of the 7. There are in fact another 2 directors, so there's a cornucopia of directors, but the scriptwriter and the director of one of these episodes is what you get within this. And I'm pretty sure it's probably the first episode, because the first episode is all over the place. You don't like the characters, they just are not likable, and I just couldn't really believe what I was seeing. I know these actors as well. I've seen them on some really decent TV series, and I was quite shocked as how they were portrayed, how they looked on screen, how they were directed, their dialogue towards each other, the way they spoke to each other was just bizarre. There's a particular character that almost says nothing for 5 episodes. She's just there forlorn when she's not occasionally attacking people. She's just there, glazed eyes, kind of staring off into the distance. They each have their past to deal with, and some of their memories do come back. And when they start coming back, they're dealing with the consequences of their life. If you want to watch something with a similar storyline that you think is good, do not watch this. Go and watch the first 3 seasons of Lost, or better yet, watch Battle Royale or Hunger Games. Those are much better. If you haven't seen Battle Royale, this is that, but so much better. Even the Hunger Games is better than this. And this is where I'm going to get into spoiler territory. So Natalie Martinez plays Chase. She is this badass Marine. She is almost a really good UFC fighter. And for me, this is partly the only kind of saving grace, is when there are action sequences with her. I think it's executed well. I think the way she fights, I believed her character in fighting that. So I feel like they did their homework. And that's probably the only part of this series that I enjoyed. I would give it a D. I would give it a D if it was just that bit. I thought the fighting sequences with her was great. I believed them. And whenever I saw her fighting, I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm not minding that. Do more of that, please. But then the story does this juxtaposition where it takes you out of, as we know, if you've seen the trailer, this simulation, and she has to deal with the psychologist and doctors, and people sign up on death row. They sign these waivers and say they're going to be experiments, probably not really knowing what they're going to get for. It's an experimental program. And so we get these two worlds. Somehow Martinez is able to get out of the program, and she has to find out what's really going on. And so the story really is hers because she's the protagonist, and you see her going in the program and out of the program. But it never really works, and it really stops the flow of the series, if there was a flow. So when you're on the island, you are kind of getting the survivor story, the survivor role. And when you're on the survivor story and the island, you really want these characters to get together and just work out how to survive. But because they're all messed up characters, basically the story is reflecting on them, that once you're a killer, once you're a rapist, once you're, these characters, you will be that. You never change. And because they are those things, they don't have any intention of working together to try and survive on this island. And that was probably one of the most frustrating things about this, because it doesn't seem believable that they'd immediately just be douchebags. As their characters are revealed and they start understanding who they are because their memories start coming back, you get these really long pauses as you see flashbacks. And some of them are well done. The majority are really slow, and again, slow down the pace. So you're leaving the island and you're going with Martinez to find out what this whole program is about, with some terrible acting from some actors. I have to question the directing of this series. And then you get the flashback. So the series itself is all over the place and never really feels knitted together well. The pacing is all over the place. And then you get this terrible dialogue. I don't think the actors are bad. I actually think the actors are okay. I think it's the way they were told to deliver the lines and the way it was directed. So the way they were directed to interact with each other. Sometimes the audio felt bad, but the audio wasn't bad. It's just the way, again, a shot is framed, the way you see them on screen. It almost at times felt like someone was just holding a camera and people were monologuing, and that's what they came up with on the spot, especially on the island scenes. And wow, like I literally could not believe what I was seeing or hearing, because the dialogue is so bad. The characters are just not likable. None of them, not even the protagonist. I liked her fighting, but I didn't care what happened to her at the end. And then when there's the big plot reveal at the end, it was like, oh, we didn't see that coming. We totally did. There are no points in this which we didn't guess what was happening. There are no points at the end of this story that I didn't guess what had happened. They allude to everything, handhold, spoon feed you. And I was just really frustrated because I like this sort of premise. If it's executed well, it's fantastic. Battle Royale is one of the best films you're likely to see with that sort of premise and storyline. This is terrible. I never want to go back to this. I really hope this doesn't get a second series. I know that it's a limited series, so I'm thinking that it won't. I have nothing against these actors or writers. I know how hard it is to create craft like this. I know how hard it is, and if you look at my stuff, it's not anywhere better. So I can't preach, but I'm reviewing it, and I have to say this is one of the worst things I've seen on TV in a long time. Saying that, the score is okay at times. I thought the score held the atmosphere on the island. Apart from the extra bits they put with the kind of the sound dynamic clips that they use from songs, which is very cheesy to use it as an editing sequence to go from one sequence to the next, which I think is cheap and lazy. But when the score is there, I think it's fantastic, and the cinematography looks okay. It isn't badly filmed, it's just terribly executed. And that's enough about me ranting all over this, I guess, kind of review. So this is the first time I've done a Badong review in a long time. I thought this was really bad, and I can't believe it even got to the stage of where they thought that this was good enough to air. I think it needed another couple of run-throughs, extra scenes. Someone need to have a look at it and put it together to make it, I don't know how you could have salvaged this. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? Maybe I'm in the minority and you thought it was a masterwork. It was brilliant. I'm willing to be proved wrong. Loads of content on my channel. Also, if you're members, don't forget there are loads of extras there, short films, funny bits, things that don't make it into our reviews, the stuff that we do like mistakes. I cut that out and put that in together into fun little videos. Also do like live blogs and occasionally, so if you remember that, welcome. If you're thinking about joining it, have a look and see what you think. There's a membership video so you know kind of what you're getting in the membership video. But I've also got loads of reviews dropping on the YouTube channel as usual. Thanks so much for watching this review, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.